Folks, an interesting item in the news. Uh, Pluto could harbor a subterranean icy ocean. And here's an illustration, an artist's rendition of what this could be like. Now, Pluto's very small, and this looks extremely deep, this subterranean ocean here. But this is what they're thinking may exist on Pluto. I don't know that it's true. I don't know that it's not. But the key here is that the secular scientists are hypothesizing that this very well may be the case. Because of the features of the surface of the planet, or body if you don't consider Pluto to be a planet, give a reason to believe that there was once a tremendous amount of water on the planet. And Mars looks this way as well. There has been tremendous action of water on the surface of Mars. So they believe that because of the features of the surface, water has gone somewhere. They say a new study released in Nature, Nature is the most prestigious science journal in the world, they say, and they say here, a basin covered with frozen nitrogen that could be anywhere from about 6 miles thick. Because this part of Pluto lines up with Charon, the dwarf planet's moon, etc., etc., they say, strange features on Mars is a good place to look for life study. Oh yeah, please. But what they say is evidence of water vapor plumes shooting out of Europa. So we calculate Pluto's size with its interior heat flow and found that underneath, etc., etc., it's not a liquid flowing ocean, maybe slushy. Okay, but nonetheless, they believe water could be there. Now, what's interesting about this? Well, the funny thing is this. The secular scientists are willing to say that it looks like water has flooded Mars and caused an outrageous amount of surface features of Mars to be created by moving water. And they are now saying that Pluto may have a subterranean icy ocean that was once flowing on its surface and caused some of its features. But they're not willing to say that the Earth could have had the same thing, because they don't want the flood of Noah to be true. Charles Lyell, the lawyer turned self-made geologist who did his thing and codified uniformitarianism. He didn't invent the idea, but he codified it before Charles Darwin wrote his book on evolution, said that he could free science from Moses, and he believed he could do it within 30 years. It was his agenda to stop the geologists of the world, who were virtually all young earth creationists at the time. They were called biblical geologists, from believing that the earth had been flooded by Noah, that there had been a Noahic flood and God had flooded the earth. It was his goal to convince the world that the flood of Noah never took place, because this would open up massive amounts of imaginary time for evolution to be true, and it would get God out of the picture. And that was his agenda. So the interesting thing, you see, is the secular scientists deny the outrageous evidence that the earth has been globally flooded, and it's overwhelming. It's empirical, in fact. The earth is covered with an average of 1,800 meters of sedimentary strata with clear laminations, clear distinct borders between them, rapidly buried creatures called fossils, polystrate fossils by the bajillions. And this had to have been created by moving water. Particle size distribution, these features cannot be created by slow deposition. None of the geologic column can be explained by uniformitarianism, the idea that vast ages of time is responsible for the laying down of the sedimentary strata that covered the earth so deep, on average 1,800 meters. Now, average is average. In places there's very little, like the Canadian Shield, and places there is 6 miles deep. But the average is 1,800 meters of strata that have a clear, distinct boundaries, no gradation from one material to the next. And this can only be created by water. So the entire geologic column had to have formed rapidly. Secular scientists deny this because they deny the flood, because they deny God. in general. But here's Dr. Walt Brown, who explained the mechanism for the flood a long time ago. It's called the hydroplate theory. It's the best theory we have in science for why the features of the Earth are what they are. For the depth, deep sedimentary strata with clear distinct boundaries, particle size distribution, strange conglomerates, massive floodplains across the Earth, folded and rolled mountains, bent strata, and fossilized creatures by the billions. It's the only potential explanation for the geomorphology of the Earth, the texture and features, the shape and features of the Earth's lithosphere, its surface, down to a certain depth, roughly 1,800 meters globally on average. So it's funny that the waters that flooded the Earth, according to the Bible, which says God opened the fountains of the great deep and the waters burst forth, and this flooded is what provided the majority of water that flooded the Earth, if not almost all of it, was water, subterranean water. According to the Bible, we have the crack in the Earth called the mid-oceanic ridges, mid-Atlantic ridge. Hot water is still coming out all along that mid-Atlantic ridge. And the secular scientists say there was no global flood, there could not have been. There was no great ocean of water inside the Earth that burst forth like the Bible says, and came out and flooded the Earth, and then receded into deeper oceans caused by the geologic mechanism of the flood. They say that can't happen. But then they'll turn around and say, gee, looks like Mars has been globally flooded. Gee, looks like Pluto might have a subterranean ocean. Oh, but it couldn't have happened on the Earth. Why? Because God did it. And that's why it can't be true for these people. That's why they deny the outrageous physical evidence, the overwhelming evidence that the flood of Noah is a real geologic event that took place about 4,500 years ago. Here's Dr. Walt Brown explaining many years ago the mechanism for the flood of Noah. I'll just show you a brief excerpt of him explaining.
Before the flood, about half the Earth's water was in interconnected chambers.
Now look at that, and look at this. Now, the Earth is much larger than Pluto, and this is a thicker ocean, they say, according to the illustration at least. But nonetheless, the principle is the same. Let's hear some more.
About 10 miles below the Earth's surface, this formed a thin spherical shell, almost a mile thick. The pressure in the subterranean chamber had been increasing for centuries because the gravity of the sun and moon produced tides in the subterranean water that lifted and lowered the Earth's massive crust twice a day. This tidal pumping added gigantic amounts of energy to the subterranean water. This increasing pressure in the subterranean water steadily stretched the crust as a balloon stretches when the pressure inside increases. Failure in the crust began as a microscopic crack that grew in both directions at almost 3 miles per second. The crack, following the path of least resistance, encircled the globe in about 2 hours. As the crack raced around the Earth, the overlying rock crust opened up like a rip in a tightly stretched claw. So the water exploded violently out of the rupture. The Bible even gives us a precise date. The 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the 2nd month. On that day, all the fountains of the great deep burst open. Then it says, and the rain fell. The fountains of water jetted supersonically into and above the atmosphere. The spray from these enormous fountains produced torrential rain such as the Earth has never experienced before or after. The supersonic fountains eroded the crumbling rock on both sides of the widening crack. This produced huge volumes of sediments that settled through the floodwaters, trapping and burying plants and animals, forming the fossil record. The subterranean chamber sprung upward, giving birth.
So there you have it. That's a very brief and partial explanation for the mechanism that caused the flood of Noah. It's precisely the same principle you see here. Subterranean water below the surface of the planet that stretched the planet surface, the crust, stressing it, until one day it split open and the waters gushed out at supersonic velocity, flooding the Earth globally. I just thought I'd point out this silliness of the secular camp. They're willing to believe there could have been a global, there is a global subterranean ocean on Pluto, but they're not willing to believe it could be or could have been for the Earth, because that would be such profound evidence for a mechanism for the flood of Noah. And that is exactly what took place on the Earth. And the evidence for it is irrefutable and overwhelming. In fact, you're sitting on about 1,800 meters of it right this minute.